Live NFL trivia every Wednesday night on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come show off your football knowledge for a chance to win cash prizes. Check the link in the description to find out more. And now, on with our feature presentation. So, Herm Edwards is finally gone. Took Arizona State long enough, huh? You think the fact that very few players on ASU actually got better from the time they got on campus until the time they left, the fact that ASU rarely looked prepared, the fact that the apathy in the fan base is at an all-time high, the fact that the staff refused to recruit in the state of Arizona and had recruiting classes that got worse and worse with each passing year, the fact that the program stayed in a constant state of mediocrity under his reign, and the fact that there was a giant violation hanging over the program that will likely result in a bowl ban and loss of scholarships that was the fault of Herm and an absolutely incompetent compliance director, and I can safely say that because I know him personally. You'd think that all of those things combined would have been enough for Ray Anderson and Michael Crow to finally pull the plug on the Herm Edwards experiment. But nope, it took this embarrassment against Eastern Michigan. It took the fact that while there are people who are busting their butts in Sun Devil athletics, who are stretched way too thin, and are working way too many hours for way too little pay, that instead of hiring more people to help them out or increasing their pay to the point where they're not living paycheck to paycheck, they had $1.5 million to blow on inviting a school to come to ASU just for that school to blow the doors off of them and embarrass them. And if there's any one play that sums up just how bad it was, and just how terrible of a head coach Herm was, especially toward the end of his tenure, it was this particular moment in the EMU game. For those who aren't watching this in the immediate aftermath of the game, a brief rundown of everything that's taken place up until this point. It's September 17th, 2022, and we have a non-conference game between the Arizona State Sun Devils out of the Pac-12 and the Eastern Michigan Eagles out of the MAC. This is a guarantee game. This is a game that is clearly designed for ASU as a tune-up before they have to start Pac-12 play and start what is looking like an absolute gauntlet against Utah, USC, and Washington in back-to-back-to-back weeks. In Eastern Michigan's only game against an FPS opponent thus far, they played Louisiana and lost by 28 points. 4 touchdowns. In their last 3 games against FBS competition dating back to last year, EMU has lost by a combined score of 136-51, getting outscored by an average of over 28 points per game. So in theory, this should be a cakewalk. Oh, how you'd be so wrong on that, because this is a Herm Edwards-led team. 2 drives into the game, and the Sun Devils found themselves down 10-0, thanks to some absolutely atrocious third down defense, with EMU going 5 for 6 on third down on those first 2 drives. The Eagles were running left, right, and center over the Sun Devils, to the point where by the time the game ended, Samson Evans had a whopping 258 rushing yards, most of which came in the first half. Evans had 316 rushing yards in all of 2021, and here he was, nearly equaling that total in one game, in a game where his team was being paid $1.5 million to come in and take a beating. And even though the Sun Devils finally got on the scoreboard to start off the second quarter, when Emory Jones hit Andre Johnson for a 3-yard touchdown pass to make it 10-7, EMU immediately answered after Austin Smith threw a touchdown pass of his own to make it 17-7. The same thing happened later in the quarter. ASU gave fans some hope that maybe things would be changing after Emory Jones punched it in from 3 yards out. But then, EMU drove 79 yards right down the field in just over 90 seconds to make it 24-14. Now, Arizona State has the ball, with one more chance to cut into that deficit before we hit the halftime break. Keep in mind, ASU gets the ball to start off the second half, so as disastrous as this game is, if they can muster up something here, they actually find themselves in a decent position. Well, that doesn't happen. ASU backs themselves up after being called for delay of game to start the drive off, which is awfully impressive, seeing as it takes skill to get called for delay of game on your very first play of the drive. And then, following an incomplete pass by Jones and 2 short passes by Jones, the Sun Devils find themselves facing 4th and 1 with 12 seconds left on their own 31-yard line. Well, looks like you're going to go into the half down by 10. Eastern Michigan has no timeouts left, So this will be the final play of the half, and ASU will just let the clock wind down and think about what adjustments they need to make in the locker. Wait, why is the clock stopped? Who stopped the clock? There's no one hurt on the field. So how did the clock stop unless ASU called the timeout? But that wouldn't make any sense. Why would ASU call a timeout just to punt the ball straight back to EMU when they had nothing to gain from it? No way they can be that stupid, right? Right?
They do get the punt away safely. Hassan Beydoun back into his left, retreating at his 20.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of a college head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Arizona State head coach, or should I say, ex-Arizona State head coach, Herm Edwards. Earlier this week, Arizona State was ranked #1 in innovation, whatever the heck that means. But after this game, I can definitely see why that was the case. Because man, this truly was innovative. I'm not sure if any coach or any program would be innovative enough to come up with something as brilliant as this, where you're punting the ball away when you literally don't have to do so. So with that being said, let's take a look at why calling a timeout instead of letting the clock run out and then deciding to punt the football back to the opposition is a really bad idea. You've clearly ruled out going for it on 4th down, and we can debate whether or not that was the smart thing to do, but I'm fine with that, because the odds of getting points on the drive with that little time left, needing to get 1 yard, and then needing to get another 40 or so just to get into field goal range are significantly less than the odds of not picking up the 1st down, and then EMU getting points themselves with a great field position, making your halftime deficit even worse. So that means that for Herm Edwards, if you can't score on this drive, the goal with 12 seconds left, after you failed to get the 1st down, and your main objective was to go into the half down by 10, exactly where you are right now. Your goal is to keep the status quo. That leaves you with 2 options. Option 1 is to let the clock run out, since again, EMU doesn't have any timeouts left. If you do that, you are guaranteed, no matter what, to enter the locker room down by 10 at the half. You are guaranteed to do what you set out to do. Option 2 is to punt the ball away and let Eastern Michigan touch the ball and possibly get a good return or get a break that they did not even earn on their own accord. Let me just ask this straight up and incredibly bluntly. Why the heck would you ever, in a million years, pick option 2? Think of everything that could go wrong if you punt this ball away. You could have the kick get blocked, resulting in a safety or a touchdown, or EMU having incredible field position to try a field goal. You could allow a big return, resulting in EMU having a chance at a Hail Mary or a long field goal. You could have a player on your team run out of bounds and not establish himself back in bounds, meaning that EMU gets one more play if they want, since the half can't end on a penalty. And if ASU is good at one thing, it's getting penalties, because holy cow, they're undisciplined. There are a lot of things that can happen, as unlikely as some of them may be, that can lead to you not being down by 10 at the half, and instead being down by more. So if those were your 2 options, again, why would you pick the second option? If you're trying to accomplish something, and option 1 gives you a 100% chance of accomplishing it, and option 2 gives you a less than 100% chance at accomplishing it, why pick option 2? You know what the best realistic thing that can happen in this scenario is for ASU if they punt the ball away? The best realistic thing is that EMU fair catches the punt, or ASU stops the return, or EMU just lets the punt bounce, and it's a 10-point game. You know what the worst case scenario is if you let the clock run out? It's a 10-point game! The worst case scenario in option 1 is equal to the best case scenario option in option 2. This is like that mystery box scene in Family Guy.
A boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat!
The only difference? This isn't a cartoon. This is real life. This is real logic, used by a man making $3.9 million and was due to make over $9.6 million over the next 2 years. And the crazy part? In the post-game press conference, When he was asked about the decision as to why he called the timeout, here's what he had to say. Take a listen.
I thought we made a first down. On the fourth down? Yeah, I thought we made a first down. I was across and I wanted to get the timeout. Maybe I probably called it too soon, but it looked like to me we had the first down. So, and we wanted to get some plays in, try to get a play or two, save some time on the clock so we could just move the ball down the field and maybe get in the field goal range.
How does that logic make any sense? He contradicted himself in that one quote. He has no idea what he's doing. If you thought you had the first down, then why are you saying that you called timeout too soon? If anything, that's even worse. If you thought you had the first, then you call the timeout right away. You don't let the clock run down any additional seconds. If Herm said, I thought we had the first down, so I called the timeout right away, that would be one thing, even though we'll get to that horrible logic of not knowing whether or not he had the first. But for Herm to say, we called it too soon, right after saying, that's a first down, is downright baffling. Plus, do you have eyes? Did you not see the EMU players holding up their fists, indicating that he was short? Did you not see a single one of your players making the first down signal on the field? Did you not see a single referee stay put instead of resetting the chains? How are you this bad at situational awareness? How do you have no idea what your surroundings are? No wonder you have recruiting violations on your team. You can't even see what's right in front of you on the field. The only way you can justify saying that, even though he was clearly short by a yard, is if this was the Fog Bowl. Not on a clear night in Tempe. Just pathetic all the way around. And for anyone who thinks that Herm didn't deserve to be fired, between this exhibit and literally everything that happened during his tenure, you haven't been paying attention, because this move was long overdue, and this is why you don't let your athletic director, who used to be an agent, hire one of his own clients who hadn't coached in a decade to take over the position of head coach, especially when he hadn't coached college football in over 30 years. So what do we learn from all this? If you have two options in life, and one option guarantees the result that you want, and the other option doesn't guarantee anything, and instead could make things worse for you, take the first option every single time. If you're in a position where you need to be aware of your surroundings, then make sure that you're aware of your surroundings and you look for clues, both contextual and right in front of you in the form of a referee that you're standing next to make the appropriate decisions. And if you don't want to give the opposition the chance to touch the ball, and you don't have to let them touch the ball, then don't call a play where the opposition is going to touch the ball, especially when you literally do not have to do that. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Get your official Jaguar Gear 9 merchandise by going to jg9shop.com, and be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL Trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. So you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.